Hello, lovelies. Can you hear me okay? Let me know. Hi, Melanie, lovely. How are you? I'm just going to let you into a little secret. So, this little munchkin has literally just had the craziest half hour. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, she is going to be absolutely crazy for our live stream. And then, with 1 minute to go, she just came and sat on my lap and just calmed down. I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you, universe. All saying that, she's starting to move. So we'll see how we get on. So lovely to have you here. I hope you are having a fabulous day. Happy International Women's Day. What perfect timing for our event together. Pulled back, what Melanie pulled back. Puppy zoomies. Yeah, I mean, it was full blown zoomies. Let me know. I'm finding it seems to be when she's eaten. Does anyone know if there's certain dog foods that just make puppies even more crazy than usual? Because I might have to avoid certain brands. Anyway, happy International Women's Day. What a great time to have our event together. Today, we are starting to look at the patterns within our nervous system. So we'll be looking at 3 different patterns this week. And don't be surprised if you find yourself relating to maybe a couple or maybe all 3 of them, because the chances are that our nervous system gets so out of whack that it pushes us into other imbalance. And we'll talk about that a bit more as the week goes on. But just a reminder, next week we've got a prize draw happening. So if you haven't already, you can be in for a chance to win 2 different ways. And if you do both ways, then you get your name in the hat twice. So the first way is to share the post on my main page, which is about this event. So help me get the word out there, help women out there balance their nervous system while navigating menopause. I would really appreciate your help with that. And the second way is to like and comment on all the videos for this week, because one, it shows that you're engaging with the process, and I want to, encourage you to do that and do the work. Hello, gorgeous girl. But secondly, it also helps with the algorithm. So if people can't find the videos, it will help them to find them. So there's like twofold way of why that would be really, really helpful for me. Hence the reason I want to pay you back with a little prize draw. She's just getting comfy now. So hope you're having a gorgeous day. Let me know if you haven't already. Say hello. Tell me how you're doing today. How are you going into this? How did you find the visualization, the recorded one for yesterday? So this was different to our live event. This was one that you got to listen to separately, to really help nurture and nourish your nervous system, bringing it back into balance so that you're in the perfect state for healing. And on Friday, we'll also be looking at what's the full Ayurvedic strategy for rebalancing while going through menopause, so that you can make sure that you can ease through that process rather than it feeling like an uphill battle that's really debilitating. So I feel like I need to take a breath after puppy antics. So if you're feeling the same, if you've rushed to get here, perhaps we'll just take a moment, close our eyes, take a nice breath in, notice that expansion in the belly, calling back any energy that we've left elsewhere, perhaps whether doing chores or sorting out puppies or being at work, bringing all that energy back into you and dropping more presently into this moment. Perhaps allowing any feelings of tension or stress or scatteredness to just settle down, Releasing any tightness around the shoulders, around the eyes. Maybe having a nice sigh. And as and when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes, coming back into this space that we're sharing together. So wonderful to have you here. Let me take you through what we'll be covering today. So, just a recap. So, all of my programs, all of my events, all of my my membership, everything is based around my self-healer method. And this is where we take the wisdom, in this case, Ayurvedic wisdom. But it's okay to have the knowledge, but actually, unless we understand ourselves and understand how it applies to us, then it's completely pointless. And then we also have to adopt the mindset. So the mindset's about realizing that we deserve to be looked after. We deserve to take care of ourselves. We deserve to make time for ourselves. And we get to enjoy it. I don't know about you, but one of the things that put me off for such a long time with looking after my health was it seemed boring. It seemed depriving. It seemed really misaligned to who I was. I'm not someone that naturally has like willpower. I like indulgence. I like to enjoy myself. I like pleasure. I didn't want to feel restricted by some kind of health practice. And I really didn't want to feel like I was living half a life and being miserable because I was trying to be good all the time. I've got a really strong inner rebellious child. And I'm sure some of you ladies can relate, who just doesn't like being told what to do. She will fight against any kind of control and discipline. So we need to put ourselves in the mindset where we're actually coming at it from a place that works for us. So for me, my mindset has to be very much around enjoying the process. I need to feel like I'm enjoying it, otherwise I won't do it. Even if I know it's good for me, because I just self-sabotage. Even those times when I feel like, nope, this is it, I'm going to be disciplined, I'm going to do this. And this has been the same for anything I've wanted to do in my life. You know, my meditation practice, having the discipline to sit down and do meditation every day took me up until a point, it took me a long time to get a regular practice. And the reason was that I was going into it with the wrong mindset. It was all around I should, I must. Until I flip that round and I choose to, because I'm going to enjoy this experience, then everything changed. The minute I flipped that script, the minute I chose to think about it differently. And our ultimate aim is to move from this place of wellness seeking. So moving from the place that's kind of dabbling, the place that is trying to do what everyone else is doing it from a place of I should, and that place of where it feels like everyone has the answers other than us, to coming into this place of the self-healer where we do take radical responsibility and we're radically honest with ourselves about where we still need to learn and grow and develop and find new ways, but not from a place of blame or shame, but from a place of knowing that we get to choose differently and we're constantly growing and we're human. We're following a strategy that actually makes sense. So we're not trying to do a bit of this and a bit of that and, you know, following this person over there and doing this thing over there, and none of them actually making sense as a whole. We're looking at it truly holistically in terms of what's going on for our body, and understanding our body, understanding what's going on for us, understanding what we need, understanding how to access that voice inside us, that inner wisdom, your inner truth. That's why my business is called Your Inner Truth, because it's that part of us that already knows exactly what we need to do for us. And the person that does it without having to wait till things get so bad that we don't have a choice. So taking responsibility from the get-go. And just to say, I'm saying all of this from someone who spent an enormous amount of time in the Wellness Seeker. So there's no judgment from me around any of this. I thought I was doing all the things. I thought I was trying to be healthy. I thought, generally I was healthy, but I hadn't been looking at my health holistically. I'd been, eating all the salads. I'd been going to the gym. I even took up running at one point, which I absolutely hated, just because I thought I should be doing it. And actually, everything in my body was telling me that these things weren't necessarily agreeing with me. But I thought I was fighting myself. So I just kept fighting myself. And so I know how painful being in the Wellness Seeker can be, because you feel like there's this constant battle going on within. So hopefully by the end of these 5 days, if you're not already, you will be feeling more in the space of the self-healer, feeling more in tune with your body, feeling more in tune with your emotions, understanding what your body feels like it needs, and also feeling empowered around all of that and able to look at yourself, your patterns, your body with radical honesty, but with no judgment. And when that judgment drops away, there's more energy to actually create transformation, which is what we're trying to do ultimately. So today, we're going to start looking at how there's 3 main patterns that show up in our nervous system. And these kind of correspond with our Western view of the nervous system. So fight would be kind of the pitta, fire energy. Flight would be vata, which is air. And I will talk a bit more about how these elements correspond with these in a moment. And then we have kapha or kapha energy, which is more the kind of freeze or shut down. So pitta is a pattern of energy that shows up in our body. It can show up in our mind. It can show up physically. It can show up emotionally, energetically. And this mainly corresponds with the element of fire. And you'll understand why as we go through these. It conjures up ideas of fire and things that we associate with fire. And the same goes for the other 2. And we're going to go into vata and kapha on Wednesday and Thursday in a bit more detail. But today we are going to be looking at pitta energy. So pitta energy in its healthiest form. And I should say we've got all of these within us. Some of us have more of one, some of us have more of a couple, some of us have pretty much got all 3 of them in similar proportions. And in its healthiest form, it's that passion and excitement and motivation. It's that thing that makes someone a really good leader. It's that thing, that kind of charisma, natural charisma that makes you want to listen and follow someone. That you feel like you want to be around them. There's almost a magnetism when there's a lot of healthy pitta going on. There's an ownership that comes with pitta. There's like a personal power, empowerment. They take the action they need to take. There's no kind of victim mentality or negotiating with themselves around things they need to do. They get the support they need to get. There's no kind of trying to do it all. It's very much about delegating. They will delegate out to people. They will seek the support they need support. They will get the experts in they need to get in. And there's an inspirational quality to Pitta. When someone's passionate and excited about something, then it's infectious. And you will see this. There's certain people that have a lot of natural Pitta energy that we see in the wider world. So when I think of Pitta in its most balanced form, I would think of someone like Barack Obama. You know, when he used to talk, people used to just go silent and listen. He had a warmth about him, a feeling of there was a natural charisma, or is a natural charisma, I should say. And so, like I say, this kind of conjures up ideas of fire. If we think about the warmth of a fire, that kind of, it draws you in. If there's a fire on in the grate, you can't help but sit and watch it. And it fills you up, doesn't it? There's a feeling inside when you're watching a fire. However, when it's in excess, this is when it can cause some problems. And excess Pitta would very much look like thinking of the qualities of fire again. So rage, anger, being hangry, being snappy. So if we think about a fire, when a fire gets out of control, it's destructive. It takes over. In our day-to-day life, this can appear in subtle forms initially. So perhaps just initially impatience, or just a lack of tolerance for things that you would have previously tolerated. For me, this is a big one. When my Pitta is out of balance, when it's in excess, I try to do it all. Hello, Superwoman. It's like no one else can do it good enough. Let me know if you can relate. It's like, oh no, I get really annoyed and I'm like, can you help me with such and such? Then they'll help. And I'll be like, not like that. So that's kind of how it can come across. I can also get really cynical. So my cynical side comes out. I can feel like I can't trust people, or I don't trust people's motives, or a real cynical side comes out, which is generally one of my first warning signs that I need to do something. I personally naturally have a lot of Pitta, which means I naturally can go out of balance in Pitta quite easily. Which means that I have experienced most of these excess things fairly regularly at certain points in my life. Avoids emotion. What I mean by this is, if you're in Pitta energy, it's that go, go, go. You've got to get it all done. You've got to do this. Where's my to-do list? Tick, tick, tick. There can be a tendency for us to suppress our emotions. Emotions can feel like they're inconvenient and we don't have time for them, and I will deal with that later. But right now I need to do all of these things and that's it. Let me know if this is resonating with anyone. Surely I'm not alone. The other thing that can come up with Pitta, so we see this rage and anger and hangry and snappiness a lot of the time directed outwards, but also a lot of the time it's directed inwards. There's a lot of I should be better. A lot of judgment. A lot of judgment can come up about ourselves. We can beat ourselves up. We think we should be super women. We think there's some perfection we're striving towards. Joe, you so relate with being out of balance and Pitta. Glad it's not just me, lovely. Overworking. So overworking can become a bit of a pattern with people that are naturally Pitta. And a lot of the time, this will start off where you're passionate about something, you love something, you enjoy it, you want to put your heart and soul into it. And like, this is so me. That's what I'm saying it. And then it becomes a bit of a spiral, a bit of a, it gets out of hand. And before you know it, you're doing too much. And it becomes a bit addictive. There's kind of an adrenaline rush that comes with it. And then before you know it, you're burning yourself out. You're becoming cynical. You feel, just a little bit impatient with the whole world. And overly disciplined. So, one of the things often I help women with when they've got a pitta imbalance, they will often come to me, and I can laugh about it, and because my clients will laugh about it now. But they'll often go, just give me the food list, give me the task list, and I will do all the things. And generally, when I'm working with those people, I throw those things out the window and say, no, we're not doing that. We're going to come back to just being with the emotions for a moment. And sometimes that can be really triggering, because actually we don't want to do that. We want to be productive. We need to just do the things, get the thing done. But we can miss out on this, actually what's going to help with our healing, which is coming back to the body, coming back to the emotions, coming back to that self-healer, coming back to that inner wisdom, and letting go of the discipline. I had a client not that long ago who I was working with, and she was like, I don't get it. She was like, I'm eating all the healthy stuff. I'm doing, I'm doing the exercise. I'm not drinking any caffeine. I've cut out gluten. I've cut out, and she'd cut out like everything. And I was like, right, okay, so we're going to turn all of that on its head. So I was like, I want you to have at least cake every day. You're going to have 1 cup of coffee a day. And like, literally, it was the opposite of what you would expect a health coach to do. Within the space of like a month, her health had transformed, because she had let go of the reins of this pitta energy, and she was stepping more into that flow, more into that enjoyment of life, and her nervous system could actually just take it down a peg. And because of that, her body was able to heal. She was blocking her own healing by being so disciplined, so restrictive, so in that control energy that her body didn't know what to do. And then the outcome of all of this excess pitta, is it leads to burnout. And we hear more and more about this because we live in a very pitta world. We live in a world where we've got corporations that are very much productivity driven. And it's all about, what can you achieve? Not about who are you. But actually, I spent years working in the corporate world. And one of the things I observed working in HR is the people that did well were not the people that achieved all of the things. A lot of the time they did as a side product. But it was because of who they were being that made them likable, relatable. People got on well with them. People wanted to work with them. And because of that, people did well for them. So it's ironic. We try and do it all. We try and be as productive as we can. And it just ends up self-sabotaging. So what can we do about it? So if you're like sat there going, yep. The thing is, when it comes to pitta, when we're judging others, what we're really doing is judging ourselves. What I know is that our reactions to others are just a mirror of how we're reacting to ourselves. So if we're being impatient with others, it's because we're impatient with ourselves. If we're putting huge expectations on others, it's because we're doing the same to ourselves. And the reason we do that is because there's a fundamental core belief beneath it all that says, I'm just not good enough. So we need to rewrite that. We need to let that go, and we need to come back to this place of self-love. Now, we threw this word around, self-love, and I look back to where I was probably, trying to think how long ago it would have been now, but say 10 years ago. And I don't think I really understood what self-love was. I think self-love in my mind was having confidence. It was, or I even saw it in some ways as arrogance. You know, people being overly self-indulgent. It took me a long time to actually figure out how to give myself compassion. And compassion in those moments when I needed it the most. Because the thing is, when those moments when we really do need our compassion is when we're likely to go even more into judgment. So today I wanted to take you through an exercise where we can access this self-love by kind of tricking our brain into finding it. Because I know in those moments when we need it, it can feel so, so tough to access it. Let me know, what's your relationship with self-love? Do you feel like you're in a place where you completely and wholly love who you are? And treat yourself accordingly, just to add that, because I know a lot of women who said, oh yeah, I love myself, and then treat themselves like an afterthought. Just while I have a sip of my cacao today. Oh, you're a quiet group today. Engage, let me know. What do you think? How does self-love feel to you? Shall I put this down as a delay on the comments? Fabulous, Joe. You're getting better at treating yourself better. And it's a long journey, isn't it? It's not something that happens overnight. It's deciding again and again and again and again. Yeah. I remember working with a lady who, in her mind, well, through a series of work, we realized she had been carrying around this, she'd been carrying around this story in her head that I just don't like myself. I just don't like who I am. And sometimes it's about figuring out, yeah, but who am I? And the problem is we judge ourselves by, every mistake we've made, by everything we've done that's led up to this moment, by the bad choices we've made. But the truth is, you're nothing more than what you are in this moment. So, oh, Joe, feels like accepting my feelings and not arguing with yourself. Beautiful. Oh, I love that. Really lovely way of describing it. Okay, so I invite you to get comfy, get a little nest ready, do whatever you need to do, maybe some blankets, and we're going to do an exercise together where we can step into that place of not just self-acceptance, but real self-love, in a way that should hopefully be easier to access than just trying to switch on self-love. Let me have a sip of my tea. Okay. So as and when you're ready, either softening the gaze or closing your eyes, and just bringing your attention to the breath in the belly. And we're just using the breath as a bit of an anchor to drop us back into what's real, this present moment. And just noticing how the rhythm in the belly is for you today. Whether it's fast or slow, deep or shallow. Whether it feels smooth as it comes into the body or a bit more jittery. None of these labels are any better than the other. Just allowing it to be whatever it is in this moment. And just allow any tension across the brow, around the eyes to just melt away. Loosening the jaw. Letting go of any tightness. Anywhere in the body you're trying to control. Just allowing it to be whatever it is in this moment. Softening into this space. And then bringing your attention up to the heart space. And just breathing into this area of the body. Noticing how it feels. Whether you're carrying any tightness or tension. And just allow your attention to rest with those spaces. And if at any point you get distracted by thought or emotions or physical discomfort, just know that's absolutely fine. And when you notice, just come back to this heart space. Allowing it to open. Breathing life into this area. Now in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine someone sat opposite you. Someone who knows you and loves you fully. Someone who sees your shadows and loves you anyway. or loves you especially because of them. And just see that person sat there in front of you, or just feel them, imagine them, sense them. However it appears for you is absolutely fine. Not judging the process in any way, not judging your experience, but allowing it to be whatever it is. This person in front of you who just loves you unconditionally. And I want you to imagine that you're stepping into their body now. You've detached from your own and stepped fully into their body, and you are looking at you. And you're noticing all the things that they see. Maybe it's your smile that they love, the way you laugh, the way your mind works, the things you get excited about, the things you're passionate about, how nurturing and caring you are. Notice what it is that they love about you. And notice if you're blocking this in any way, the fear of wanting to be modest or feeling uncomfortable. Just see if you can flow with it. What do they love about you? Maybe it's the way that you make them feel. And allow all these things to flow to you now. All the reasons you're so lovable. The things that make you you. You may hear them, you may see them, you may feel them. There may just be an energy about them and you're not sure what they are. Just trust that whatever is coming through for you is right for you. As you notice and observe just how lovable you are. And allow yourself to enjoy this feeling. Not from a place of feeling like you're better or worse than anyone else, but that you are okay. You don't need to change. You don't need to be anything other than who you are. You deserve to feel this love. You can step out of that person now and step back into your body, bringing this feeling with you. This feeling of, do you know what? I'm all right. I'm uniquely beautiful and fabulous in my own way. I don't need to be anything other than what I am. Allow that to sink in. And notice how it feels in the body. that feeling of relief, of not having to try, but just be. Notice where you feel this in the body. What area holds this feeling of self-love, of knowing that you're absolutely okay, just as you are. And as and when you're ready, starting to notice the feeling of the ground or chair beneath you. That place where your body touches this other surface, connecting you back down into earth. Notice the feeling of the temperature of the room on your skin. Any sounds you can hear in the outside world drawing you back. And as and when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes, coming back into the outside world. So, how did that feel? What did you notice? Was there any kind of resistance? Or did it flow quite easily? Let me know, I'm intrigued. And I should say, there's an added power when we share these things, when we in a community share, do you know what, this is my experience, this is how I'm feeling, that level of vulnerability and saying this is all of me, and that's okay. There's a huge power to that. Although I appreciate it can feel a bit daunting. So if you don't feel ready, absolutely fine. If you feel tentatively ready to share, I would encourage you to do so, because there really is an empowerment to that. Melanie, fabulous. Feel like you've left all the worries. How nice. Beautiful. Joe, I found that I couldn't step into and see what another person sees in me. Interesting. I would, there's a block there. So I would journal around it if you haven't used journaling before. I would journal what is blocking me from finding self-love and see what comes through. And when I say journal, don't think about it, just write. Just let the words flow onto the paper. And we access a different part of us when we do that. And sometimes I look back at my words when I've been journaling and I think, God, that doesn't even sound like me. Or, that sounds like some inner wise woman. So, yeah, that might be interesting to see what comes up for you. Okay. Oh, good. I love journaling too. Yeah. It's a great way to access things that you wouldn't normally be able to access. So today was fire. And when we are going into menopause, we are coming out of our pitta time of life and transitioning into vata. So pitta can often come up during perimenopause. It's one of the things that comes up a lot. So this kind of menopausal rage, mood swings, feeling really fiery, feeling like, physically the hot sweats. This is the fire within, so it can affect our skin. We can find our digestive system's upset by it. And this kind of calms down naturally as we move into our vata phase of life. So as we come out of menopause, we move into a vata time when we feel less fiery. And there's a really good reason for that. Like during, from about the end of adolescence into as we go into menopause, this time of life is when we're doing most of our stuff. This is when we're, following our career path, where we're bringing up children, where we're, creating a home. And so we need that pitta energy. We need more of that. We need that fire in our belly. We need to do the stuff. But as we come to the end of our pitta time of life and move into vata season, sometimes we're bringing with us an excess of this. So working with these, calming down the nervous system, calming back to self-love, self-compassion, that feeling of like we don't actually have to be anything other than what we are. We are good enough. It's really, really important. Tomorrow, we will be looking at a vata imbalance. So a vata imbalance is where we've got too much air in the system, and this will often manifest on a mental and emotional level as things like anxiety, overwhelm, feeling disconnected from the world, feeling disconnected, feeling ungrounded, feeling disconnected from those around us. So we will be looking at that tomorrow. And then, as I mentioned, on Thursday, we will be looking at kapha. So this is the energy of earth. This is when we can feel heavy and sluggish and unmotivated and a bit numb, and what we can do around that side. Before, on Friday, looking at the full strategy for rebalancing our whole system with Ayurveda as we navigate menopause, as well as sharing with you my fabulous program for those of you that want to take that added step, that added leap, and go full into it. Then I will be sharing a bit more with you on Friday, well, the end of Friday, all about that and how you can sign up to join me. In the meantime, your visualization for today will be coming to you. This visualization is all around the emotions. You would have noticed that today I talked about how When we're in pitta energy, when we're in this go, go, go energy and it's in excess, we can avoid the emotions. From an Ayurvedic point of view, what we know is that when we avoid as opposed to process, it creates armor in the system, like a toxicity in the system. In kind of Western terms, we would think of this like emotional baggage, emotional blocks, which then affect us in every area of our life. So it's so important that we take the time to really process, not numb out, not distract, not suppress, but to really feel what's going on for us. So today will be around that. Hopefully, it will be an enjoyable experience for you. Like I say, I always like to enjoy my self care. So none of it is too painful, I would hope. It's deep, it's always deep with me, but it's hopefully not painful. So I look forward to hearing how you get on with that. And see you tomorrow for day 3. I cannot believe how quick this is going. But we'll be going deeply into Vata. So I look forward to seeing you then. If you've got any questions in the meantime, please reach out. I will see you soon.